Well, hello there, my friends. Today we're diving straight into a story that shows just how far America has pulled back from the world stage. And trust me, the consequences are already rippling across Europe in ways that should make everyone pay attention. I spent years working inside one of those big, well-known media outlets, watching firsthand how stories get twisted and shaped to fit whatever narrative the bosses wanted that day. I walked away from all that because I couldn't stomach it anymore. Now I'm independent, I speak my mind freely, and I tell you what really matters without the corporate filter. If you value honest reporting that cuts through the noise, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to help keep this kind of independent journalism alive, consider becoming a channel sponsor. Your support means everything to someone like me who chose truth over a comfortable corporate paycheck. So here's what's happening. Donald Trump just dropped a bombshell at the United Nations that has European leaders scrambling. He basically told Europe, Ukraine's your problem now, figure it out yourselves. After months of pressure and back-channel negotiations, Trump stunned everyone by saying Ukraine can fight and win back all its territory, but with European support, not American. The message was crystal clear. America is stepping back. Europe is stepping up to the plate, whether they like it or not. Now, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, who's usually pretty diplomatic about these things, came right out and said what everyone was thinking. He wrote on social media, President Trump stated that Ukraine can reclaim all its territory with EU support. Behind this surprising optimism lies an announcement of reduced US involvement and shifting responsibility for ending the war to Europe. Better truth than illusions. And Tusk is absolutely right about that. The British media picked up on this immediately, with major outlets reporting that Trump's new rhetoric isn't about strengthening support for Ukraine, it's about dumping responsibility on Europe's doorstep. After months of being pressured by Democratic establishment figures who were saying one thing to his face and another behind his back, Trump decided he'd had enough. So now Europe gets to deal with the consequences, while America sits back and watches the show. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is where you need to pay attention because this affects all of us. Several European officials, speaking to British media on condition of anonymity, admitted that Trump wants to shift responsibility to them, and that means significantly higher costs for European taxpayers. They're going to have to tighten their belts whether they want to or not. And you know what this means? We're about to see a massive surge in right-wing popularity across Europe. Look at what's already happening. Macron's approval ratings are in the gutter. Germany's Friedrich Merz is struggling with his own coalition falling apart. Britain's Starmer is facing growing opposition. These are the realities nobody wants to talk about, but they're coming whether we acknowledge them or not. Speaking of Germany, let me tell you what's really happening there because the mainstream media isn't giving you the full picture. Merz's coalition is literally falling apart from the inside. The parliamentary faction leader Jens Spahn just issued an internal order telling everyone to dial down expectations and stop talking about their promised autumn reforms. Why? Because they've got absolutely nothing to show for all their big talk. Here's the truth they don't want you to hear. No major reforms are expected in Germany for the rest of this year. The commissions they set up are barely getting started, and results won't come until 2026 at the earliest. The Labour and Social Affairs Minister isn't even planning to present their proposals until next spring. So much for that autumn of change they kept promising, right? And while politicians are making empty promises, real working people are getting crushed. Bosch, the global automotive supplier, just announced they're planning massive job cuts. We're talking about a 5-digit number of layoffs, which means tens of thousands of families are about to lose their livelihoods. This is way worse than anyone expected. Last year, Bosch already eliminated 9,000 jobs in Germany alone, but now that number is about to skyrocket. Don't forget to hit that like button if you're finding this information valuable, and make sure you're subscribed, because stories like this won't get proper coverage anywhere else. The situation is so bad that Berlin's airport is still operating in emergency mode after a cyber attack on September 19th. 3 flights were cancelled today, and 12 flights were disrupted yesterday. The attack targeted an American company that provides key systems for airports, affecting not just Berlin but Brussels, Dublin and London too. And here's the kicker. Nobody knows who's behind the attack yet. The investigation is ongoing, but the silence is deafening. But let me tell you about something that perfectly captures how dishonest European leadership has become. Manfred Weber, the leader of the European People's Party in the European Parliament, went on German television and basically admitted he doesn't even bother keeping up with what Trump says at the UN. When pressed about Trump's harsh criticism of European double standards, Weber claimed he didn't know what the host was talking about. This is the same Trump speech where the president tore into European leaders for their hypocrisy, pointing out how they claim to be fighting Russia while still buying billions in Russian oil and gas. Weber tried to dodge by saying Europe reduced imports by 80%, but when the host mentioned the 40 billion euros Europe still spent on Russian energy, Weber started squirming and avoiding direct answers. This is the leader of the European People's Party we're talking about, the same party that includes Ursula von der Leyen, head of the European Commission. They're supposed to be setting policy for hundreds of millions of Europeans, and this guy can't even be bothered to watch major presidential speeches that directly affect his continent. You want to know what real honesty would sound like? Weber should have just said, "Yes, we're playing a double game. We talk tough about Russia while keeping the energy flowing because it's profitable. That would be honest, even if it's ugly." Instead, he pretends ignorance and makes himself and his party look even worse. No wonder right-wing movements are gaining ground across Europe when the establishment acts like this. Meanwhile, there's some lighter news from Germany that actually shows how international pressure can work when applied correctly. That 3-year battle over doner kebab regulations is finally over. Turkey withdrew their request to register doner as a traditional delicacy, which would have forced German doner shops to use only Turkish recipes and ingredients. About 18,500 German food establishments would have lost the right to call their product doner if Turkey had succeeded. Germany fought back and won, protecting their local businesses and food culture. But back to the serious stuff, because there's also a judicial scandal brewing in Berlin that shows how deep the problems run. Judge Philipp Berholz gave an incredibly lenient sentence to a pro-Palestinian activist named Yasemin Akar, who attacked police officers and chanted the banned slogan "From the river to the sea" in Germany. Not only did this judge give her just a monetary fine, but he actually praised her during the hearing, saying, "I want to express my respect for how you speak out. You probably say what many people have in their hearts. Can you believe that?" A sitting judge praising someone for chanting banned slogans and attacking police officers. Well, now an 82-year-old lawyer named Thomas Walter, who's a former judge, prosecutor, and investigator himself, has filed a complaint against Berholz. Walter says the judge's comments show personal sympathy for the defendant and violate basic judicial ethics. The prosecution is also appealing the verdict, insisting that the river to sea slogan falls under criminal law in Germany. Let me quickly summarize what we've covered today because these stories are all connected in ways that matter. Trump has essentially abandoned Europe to handle Ukraine alone, which is going to cost European taxpayers billions while strengthening right-wing movements across the continent. Germany's government is falling apart while announcing massive job losses at major companies. European leaders like Manfred Weber are showing stunning ignorance about major international developments that directly affect their constituents. And even the judicial system is showing cracks, with judges making politically motivated decisions that violate basic ethical standards. All of this points to the same conclusion. We're watching the European establishment lose control in real time, while America sits back and focuses on its own interests. The consequences are going to be massive, and they're going to affect real people's lives in ways that most media outlets won't tell you about. This is exactly why independent journalism matters more than ever. If this kind of honest analysis is valuable to you, please hit that like button and subscribe to stay informed. And if you really want to support fearless, independent reporting that doesn't bow to corporate or political pressure, consider becoming a channel sponsor. Your support makes it possible for voices like mine to keep telling you the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. The world is changing fast and the old order is crumbling. Stay informed, stay alert, and I'll be back tomorrow with more of what really matters.